Wargamers. I'm super excited about this upcoming Tyranid Codex. If you are unfamiliar, basically it went up for pre-orders on Saturday, and since then we've gotten a deluge of reviews from prominent YouTube channels, big podcasts, things like that. People in the community that have a lot to say have gotten advanced copies of the Codex directly from Games Workshop, and that's awesome in a lot of ways, but it also made me wonder, is Games Workshop being too nice? So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and hit subscribe. That way you don't miss any of my upcoming 40K content, including a look at the Tyranid Codex. But yeah, so let's start this discussion. Obviously the answer is not 100% no, they're not being too nice. Otherwise I probably wouldn't be making this video. But either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments below as we go along here. So yeah, I think there's basically three stakeholders that we can look at to kind of parse out the pros and cons of this new Games Workshop, the new Games Workshop, as we've started to say, basically. The old Games Workshop was very secretive. They didn't want to tell you anything about it. Then they moved into the new Games Workshop, which was a bit more engaging, a bit more forthcoming with what was happening. And now we're in the new Games Workshop where they are, not only engaging, they're, pushing stuff out and, basically spoiling their own books for us. So, yeah, we're definitely in a hyper-aggressive, hyper-friendly environment with Games Workshop. And I think that affects these three different stakeholders differently. Those stakeholders being just everyday players, people that are playing the game, enjoying online content provided by YouTube or podcasts, things like that. Large content creators, people like Beasts of War, Spiky Bits, Forge the Narrative, Preferred Enemies, you name the podcast. These are the big content creators, people that you know by name, basically. And then there are the smaller content creators like me. And a slew of other YouTube creators as well, right? Small podcasts in addition to that, right? And I think each of these three groups has different pros and cons. So let's start with the everyday player. This is a huge win for the everyday player. It's really positive. It gives them the information that they want. It gives them the access to the content that they want. And it is really cool as a player for me to be able to be open and engaged with Games Workshop about this game that we all enjoy so much, and not have to worry about, finding out the day before release what's happening. That I know what's coming out, that I know what's in the book, that I know the models that are coming, that I know the armies that are going to be addressed and in what order. That is great. That's something that we've been asking for years, running on decades at this point. We wanted this so bad as a gaming community, and it's wonderful to see it actually come to fruition. So as a gamer, as a part of the community, I'm super excited about the new Games Workshop and their approach to revealing information, telling us the timelines, that sort of thing. It's awesome, and I'm stoked about it. The second group of people that I think it affects are those big content creators. All the people I just mentioned, plus, a bunch more. And in this case, the Codex went for pre-order on Saturday. And, at 6 a.m. Saturday morning, I went on YouTube and I already saw a handful of Codex reviews from different channels, different podcasts, that sort of thing. And all the people that got these advanced copies of the books are, superstars. Not literally, of course, because we're a pretty small community in absolute terms, but these are people that really deserve to get this type of attention from Games Workshop. They're quality content creators. They're doing a great job. I'm a huge fan of most of them. And you couldn't ask for them to pick a better group of people to get these codices. So I'm really happy for everyone that got an advanced copy, and I think that the people that got advanced copies are doing a really good job in terms of not only not letting Games Workshop down with producing good content based on those codices, but also not letting the community down because they are, again, producing that high quality content that we want, and they're excellent at providing. So these big content creators get these advanced copies and they do a great job with it, and so I think that's good for them. It's good for them, it's good for us, right? But the third group of people, the small content creators, it's still good for us because of everything I mentioned about the first two groups, but there's also a downside, and that is that the way that channels grow a lot of times has to do with capitalizing on current events or recent news or talking about something that's topical. And that is really hard to do when people get a week-long head start on you. So what I mean by this is, my channel sees the most growth when I talk about something that is news, something that's new to the community. So when 8th edition hit or was being previewed, I did videos almost daily, sometimes twice a day even, talking about previews that we're getting from Games Workshop, and I made it a point to be one of the first people to put a video out because I knew that if you're not first, you're last, right? Basically, the first person to put out a video on this subject is going to experience the most traffic potentially, or at least has the opportunity to get the most traffic, because as you put content out, the earlier you do it, the more views you get, and then 5 days later when someone else goes to view it, they're going to see the more viewed video before they see a less viewed video. So getting content out early puts you in a good position to have a lot of growth. And if you are late to the game, if you don't put out content early on, if you wait around to do it, you are not only missing out on the surge of people that are just finding out about it and starting to consume content based on that, but you're also missing out on your ranking in the search return for that topic. So like I said, with 8th edition, I tried really hard to put videos out regularly and quickly when we got new information, and my channel had a huge surge in growth during that time period, and it was great. The same thing with TAU releases in the past. Every time that they've talked about a TAU release and I've done videos on it, my channel sees a period of increased growth. And that's true for basically any topical thing that's happened that I've talked about. Is I get this nice surge of growth that goes along with that, and that's because I'm producing content when the information becomes available. I'm timely, it comes out, people search for it, they see my video because it's one of the few videos that are out there that early on, and that's how my channel grows. Now, with this current system of giving people like Mini Wargaming a copy of the Codex a week ahead of time, presumably more than a week ahead of time, those people are able to have a whole lineup of content ready to go as soon as pre-orders go, and basically preempt any small channel from capturing that audience. So the earliest that I'm able to get information about the Codex out to you is when the Codex drops. But by that point, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of views on these, maybe not hundreds of thousands, but tens of thousands of views on these videos produced by big content creators that are going to completely soak up all the hit returns, all the hit results for people searching for Tyranid Codex review. They're going to see a dozen big channel reviews before they'll see my little channel review at the on the third page of search results. And that's again great for the community that they have access to that information early. Great for the big content creators because they're able to provide a service for us as a community. But for small content creators, it stifles our ability to grow. And that's really the thesis of this video, is that Games Workshop providing a advanced copy to some individuals or some organizations basically is a positive feedback loop for big channels getting bigger, and hurts the ability of small channels to grow larger because they no longer have the equal opportunity to engage in that community or engage with that audience right when the codex hits. They've been preempted, they've been cut off from that opportunity, and that's not awesome, right? So it basically prevents me from capitalizing on this surge of interest in a codex because everyone else has beat me to the punch. And not everyone else, but the big channels, right, have beaten the little guys to the punch, and that's unfortunate. It basically prevents them from getting as much growth as they could otherwise, and in some ways makes the community a little bit more stagnant. It prevents those little channels from becoming big channels as quickly. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that I don't want Games Workshop to have this enthusiasm for the community. I think it's great. And again, the people that are getting advanced copies definitely deserve to be the ones getting it. They are awesome content creators and should be getting this type of recognition. So if you got an advanced copy, please know that I think you guys are great. But, you know, it still hurts the little guys in, you know, a kind of an indirect way. What would, you know, make this better? What would make it different? Well, honestly, I think the only way to avoid this type of issue is to put some sort of limitation in what type of media is being put out. So like if they got advanced copies but weren't able to actually post anything until the day of release, or if, you know, people got free copies of the codex if they were, you know, particularly notable. Like, I don't have a problem with Games Workshop sending Mini Wargaming a free codex. Like, that's fine. You know, they definitely, you know, like I said, they do great work, and it's cool if Games Workshop wants to send them free stuff. But, you know, maybe either, you know, say, hey, don't post anything until it is actually released, or, you know, don't send them advanced copies, but just send them a free copy when it's released. Something like that. Now, I realize that that is easier said than done, because part of the reason why I suspect Games Workshop sends these advanced copies is not just to be nice, but to basically hype the product. So if they send out this cool Tyranid codex to Mini Wargaming, and Mini Wargaming does this awesome review, which they've done, you know, if they do this awesome review, people are like, oh, I should get this codex. This codex is really cool. And so it's basically free advertising for them, you know, minus the cost of, you know, producing and shipping the codex. So, you know, I understand that aspect of it, and realize that Games Workshop wouldn't have as much to gain by taking these alternate routes of, you know, limiting media or limiting the time period at which they could be posted. So I get that, and for that reason, I don't expect a change from Games Workshop like this. But just kind of putting it out there that this is kind of a you know, less awesome side effect of this otherwise super cool aspect or policy of the new Games Workshop. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, again, I really want to make this clear. I think A, it's awesome that Games Workshop is engaging with us this way, and B, the people that got the codices and are producing content are doing a great job and definitely deserve that recognition. But you know, overall 98% positive, but 2% not awesome. So yeah, just kind of wanted to get some ideas about how you guys feel about it, what you think might be some alternative ways forward in the comments below. But most importantly, thanks for watching, and happy wargaming.